So in today's episode, I'm going to share with you how I built my home studio. So it's not about buying expensive things. It's about putting together a set or a studio that actually describes you. Hopefully my tips will help you set up your studio without having to spend unnecessary money. Welcome everyone to my channel. My name is Jackie D. My goal is to help you build your self-esteem as you create a powerful social media presence. I actually started as a TV show producer in 2014. It's for another TV show that I have online, and all through the years we would film on location. We had a studio outside, or we would do red carpet events or things like that. So we would carry our gadgets and equipment, we would set up, we will do a series of interviews, and then we would pack up and then we would go home. Of course, the pandemic came, and then I started doing Zoom interviews for that same show. And that was how I realized that, hey, I better actually have a fixed studio at home. You don't need a huge space to do your YouTube videos. You only need a little corner that will give you enough distance from you and your camera and enough lighting space so that your light is properly dispersed in the room. So we're talking about 4 important areas that you want to consider when you're building your home studio. Number 1, space. You can have a corner in your living room or in your bedroom or in your corridor. It depends where you can set up your chair and have a camera and things like that, right? So it doesn't really matter where. I started with a very small room, but because it was too small, the lights, even if I dimmed them, were still too bright for me. And so I moved to a corner of my living room, which was really awesome, but because that's my living room, we would have to set up and then remove everything, because you don't want all your cameras and in your living room, right? So it was always a tedious process, and when you keep setting up and then packing up, chances are you cannot maintain the same distance or quality or attributes or lighting because it's always different, right? Another advantage when you actually have a permanent location at your house for filming is that you have a permanent backdrop set. You have a set which associates you with your brand, and especially because we want to build a brand, and part of building your brand is creating an impression in the minds of your audience. They can associate your brand with your set, and as you can see, I love pastels, I love pinks, a little purple here, pinks, pastels, whites. So flower, you are able to actually establish your aesthetics. Next, your lighting. Your lighting is really, really important. When I started, I was in that little room, and as I mentioned earlier, the lighting was so strong for that space. So I moved to my living room, and I love my lighting there. But then again, we had to set up, we had to pack up, so that was not gonna work in the long haul, right? So when I moved to this spare room, I didn't have my ring lights and my studio light. I actually recorded using the lights on my vanity table, my vanity mirror. So that was good, but see, it was too soft and I couldn't really go far. I had to stay close to the lights because it wasn't really good enough for filming. I mean, the farthest I can go was like this in my video. There's no room for adjustment. Remember, you have to have a good headroom. You have to have a good headroom, because if you need to edit, you need to zoom in, then you have enough room. And after that, I started to collect my equipment little by little. My first one was a ring light that my husband bought for me from Amazon. And I love Amazon. But see, I realized, maybe I need some lighting, because you see, sometimes I want to face there, or sometimes I want to face here. So I want to have my lights already set up. And I also have my studio light. And in time, you will know what's the best mix. So right now, I have fixed settings because I know that they work for my filming. And that's the benefit when you actually have a fixed area in your home to do your filming. I will be devoting a separate episode to purposely talk about lights. Stay tuned. Camera. For my eveRIAthing TV show, we have always used 3 cameras, sometimes 4, and we used the Lumix brand. So I have a Lumix GH3, I have a Lumix GX85, but see, I could not operate those cameras by myself because you need to check the focus, But see, our goals as content creator is to film when we want to or when we have to, and whether or not we have help, we should be able to film. And operating those Lumix cameras was very challenging for me because there were just too many settings to remember. And it's so hard to check the focus if you are the cameraman yourself, and then you have to check, but how can you when you are the subject and then you have to go back, or you have to record and then watch the recording and then say, oh no, it's not good enough, and then you redo it again. That's a lot of time wasted, and I can't do that. Because of that, you know what? I'm gonna record using my cell phone. And I did. For a while, I was using my cell phone and I loved it. I have a Samsung S21 Ultra, so it's the highest model. So I love it. But see, I've had some unforgettable, sad experiences using my cell phone because when it gets so hot, it just stops recording. And I kept talking, and then I'm done. And when I'm done, I check, it just stopped recording halfway because it was too hot. So I'm going to talk about why I do not record using my cell phone anymore in another video. So no more cell phone. I didn't want to use my Lumix because I cannot for the life of me operate all of those settings, and that's how I got my Sony camcorder, and I'm gonna list the details here. Check this out. A brand new unit of this camera costs 1,850 Canadian dollars, and we got one that is almost new for $550. I got it from Facebook Marketplace. I'm just very, very happy with this one, and I can operate this myself, all by myself. To turn it on, I just open the monitor and then twist it a little bit so that I can see myself. But my husband actually connected this to a bigger monitor, and then that way I can see myself. See? And it's just fixed on my desk in that corner. And then when I'm done, I just put the monitor back in its place. And I have a remote control. And I just hit this red button to record and then hit it again to stop recording. Who says that you need to make a huge investment to have an impressive, comfortable film studio? You don't have to. Facebook Marketplace, I know Craigslist still does a lot of selling, maybe eBay, Etsy, your neighbor, your children, your parents, anyone, you can put them all together, and as long as they harmoniously blend with one another, then you have an impressive place to film. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and then that way I can share with you my different tips and experiences, and then that way you too can have an amazingly productive and beautiful experience as a content creator. Check out my blog, and don't forget to sign up for my newsletter, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.